when they were making the B movies, were they making like back in the 50s or even like this? What? Because there was an element of humor to them. Was that intentional? The tongue in cheekness of it?
I don't think so. I think.
Oh, you don't think so?
I don't think so. Like Ed Wood stuff, he was very serious, and it just came out that way.
Yeah, but what about the other ones though? I mean, some of the special effects are pretty like.
Pretty late. Yeah, like have you seen The Creeping Terror? Fabulously bad. It's like this big roll of carpet that's kind of slowly moving along, and it eats people. And they're like, instead of simply running away or even walking in the way, they're going and then they jump into the carpet thing.
Yeah. So do you think that like they were all like when these movies were being made, like that they were serious? Like, okay, not that they're like, okay, it's kind of a.
I think they were serious. I think they just didn't have the budget.
Yeah.
Or maybe the writers or something to make it as frightening as they wanted it to be, or whatever, the scary whatever. And I think they just kind of unintentionally became funny.
So when you think when B movies were being made, or it ends
like
up
you're
being,
talking about like the ones in the 50s and 60s,
or any of them, or even like ones from the 70s or something like that, or like you're talking about Cannibal Holocaust or something.
Yeah.
Were they? Did those people like, okay, were they thinking like we're gonna make an A movie here, but the level of quality makes it a B movie, or do you think that's their intention?
I think their goal was to make money, and so they were going with the horror thing because that was big for the drive-in market or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think they were just the budget limitations kind of brought them down, like Ed Wood. I mean, and the writing in that too, like the whole thing, like the Martians are over there and the so and so is over there, but I'm right here. I mean, like
I know this. I know the line. It's so funny. Yeah. And your mind's up here, and you're over there.
Yeah. So I think it was just budget and maybe writing and maybe acting.
I mean, did the movies sell like a lot of tickets? Or was it a thing where it's like, okay, we know we're gonna make a cheap movie, but because we're making it for this much money and we sell this many tickets, we're gonna make our money back and then some.
I think that was the case. Yeah, I think that was the case for a lot of them, not all of them, but for a good portion of them. Like American International Pictures, I mean, they were notoriously cheap and I mean, they did some great stuff, but I'm sure they made money on everything.
So what we're saying is like these movies weren't self-aware. And do you think that changed then? Do you think that eventually there were like, a perfect example is like the Mars, Invaders from Mars.
Invaders from Mars.
Yeah, that's a self-aware movie.
Yeah,
where they know that they're playing on the, But I guess did that change where eventually you had directors that are like, okay, let's try to make, something that's intentionally bad.
Intentionally bad.
Well, intentionally B movie-ish.
B-movie-ish.
Let's then playing with the cliches and all that other stuff.
And you're not talking like Scary Movie or something like that, where it's intentionally made to be funny because it's okay. I don't know. I can't think of any examples really.
Like, have you ever heard of the movie The Room?
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau's movie?
I saw that.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. And The Room is like...
Yeah.
Considered to be like one of the worst movies ever made. And you watch this movie and you're just sort of like how? Like, and you got to think like the actors, like, don't they know that like the dialogue that they're saying doesn't make any sense and it's kind of stupid, and then you realize that it's him, and he's that egotistical, and he had the money where like you couldn't tell him any differently, and then it's like that's how that movie was made. So if there was anyone to tell him like, hey, that's you don't say hi, Mark, or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but it was him. It was his money, his script, his directing. And, what can you do?
Do you think... We're talking about, like, B movies, and let's be honest. I've watched... A lot of movies I watch. I appreciate them. I just think they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I do, too.
But would you say that there's any of them from, like, the 50s, like, the golden age of these B horror movies where, like, like a truly scary movie. Like we're talking off screen, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre to me is a truly gruesome movie. Yeah, it's not really harrowing. It isn't. There's not. I mean, there's not really much where you're like, it's kind of messed up. Or like The Shining. That's a legitimate. I would say even like the first Halloween, but then once you get to like the other ones,
back in like the 50s or the 60s, and we're talking the low budget B movies, that are really. Wait, I'm sorry. What was the question again? Like they're really scary, or
like a legitimately scary movie from like the 50s or like the 60s. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like a movie, like you're, like something that would be wow, that was actually okay. Well, let me back up. Would you consider say the original Dracula or the original Frankenstein to be a scary movie?
No, but I think that's my modern sensibility and years and years and years of watching scary movies, kind of numbing everything. My my sense of what's scary and what's not scary. Yeah. Back in the day, I'm sure it was horrifying.
Yeah.
But to a person born later in the century, it's neat, it's interesting to watch, but it's not scary.
Yeah, but obviously back then they thought it was scary.
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah. But do you think there was any? What I'm saying is I mean, obviously people in the 50s going to see The Blob or whatever. Like they honestly thought that this stuff was scary.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love The Blob. That's a good movie.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah. That whole title song. Yeah.
Beware of the Blob.
And I have that poster too, yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there's any truly scary horror movies from that era.
I recommend The Original Haunting. Watch it late at night with the lights off.
Okay.
And there's parts of it that's like, oh, but it's not. If you watch it with a group of people, if you watch it during the day, if you watch it with your phone, you're not going to get it. But if you watch it in the dark alone, you're like, oh, a couple of times, it's kind of spooky.
What's your opinion of The Exorcist?
Oh, I love The Exorcist.
Do you find that truly scary? There's a lot of people that do.
At the time when I was a kid, when it came out, I didn't see it when it first came out, but we went to the drive-in and it was playing on the screen behind us. Yeah. So my head was doing the Linda Blair, turning around, checking it out the whole time. And that night when we got home, I was super scared, and I think I slept under my mother's bed because I didn't want to wake her up.
Yeah.
And I slept under her bed or under my brother's bed or something like that. I got into horror really early in life when I was a kid. Really, really. I remember one of my first introductions to horror was we were watching a TV with my family.
Yeah.
And this was really early on because my dad was there, and they divorced when I was 4. So we were in a horror movie commercial came on.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, oh, don't watch, cover your eyes. And so, of course, I had to watch. And it was like, oh, my gosh, I got to see this because it was like this taboo thing. I want to see this. And ever since then, I've kind of been gravitating towards the horror thing.
Actually,
4 years old or less.
You know what? It's always funny. It's like, how did this come from? How did this come from? I remember, in the 90s, when I would start to go see concerts, that were, in bars. The cool bars, the punk rock bars, whatever. And, they didn't have a TV. And I forget which bar it was. There was one particular bar, I think it was in Philadelphia, where they'd have a TV on, right? Mm-hmm. But they literally would have, one of those something weird video. It's just a videotape where it's just all trailers. Mm-hmm. And then they just have that playing. You couldn't hear it, but you could see it. I remember, just kind of watching all the imagery. And, I remember seeing, the Elsa movies, She-Wolf of the SS. And you're like, what the hell's that? Man, this is beyond anything that I've seen. And that all that stuff, fed into me, where it's as I was saying, I grew up in, the coal region of PA. And it's I start learning about all these different stuff, but I couldn't have access to any of it. And then when I finally moved to New York, it was where there's actually cool movie rental places. And then it's well, finally, I finally got to see Death with, Color Me Blood Red and Blood Gore Girls.
Gore Girls, yeah. Wizard of Gore, Blood Feast. 2000 Maniacs.
Yeah. Which I always got confused with that band 10,000 Maniacs, and I always thought to myself, "Is their name? Are they named after that movie?" Yeah. I for me it was all about VHS. Like I remember
that made things really easy to get to.
Well, this is the interesting thing that I was thinking about when it comes to like VHS horror, and like you're talking about, like you'd see a trailer like on TV, you'd see it and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that looks like a cool movie. That maybe you think about going to see it, maybe you wouldn't." But I'm probably thinking it's like, but eventually they're gonna stop showing that commercial and move on with your life. But what I thought was interesting about going to the VHS store is like you go into the horror section, you'd have all these movies just staring at you in the face. So yeah, maybe you're going in today and like you're not thinking about getting pieces, but it's there. Or like Evil Dead, or any of these other movies that you haven't seen yet. But just the fact that you're going back, and well, I watched this. Well, maybe I'll check out Funhouse. It's been sitting there. And then it's that constant seeing them that made me want to like, okay, maybe I should check out this movie. Like the slasher thing, the thing that I was really the biggest when I was growing up. Like that was
the 80s, yeah.
That was kind of a newer thing. I mean, like the movies from like the 50s. Not slasher films per se, but they're definitely the horror was different.
Yeah, it was mainly like giant bugs or radioactive mutants or whatever in the 50s.
Yeah,
to someone going around and killing people with a knife or whatever. Yeah.
Do you think that's? I mean, ultimately, do you think that's lazy writing, or is it just the evolution? Or
I think. Well, I think it's again. I think it goes back to the budget of stuff. Like Halloween was a big, huge hit. It was very low budget. So they had a guy with a knife going around killing people. And it's done really well, made tons of money. Oh, let's have imitations.
Yeah.
I think, and then a lot of the imitations were, again, also low budget. So I think they stuck with what they knew. I mean, like you have things that come out of that's still a slasher, but like Nightmare on Elm Street, that was very creative, very different. But then you have other stuff like Visiting Hours or, it's crap.
I'll be honest with you, Sean. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of the more modern horror movies. Like the stuff that's just kind of out more recently.
Like which one?
I don't know.
Give me an example. Your title.
Any of them. I don't know. Like there's some movies that are just sort of like they're almost too scary. They're almost like it's almost.
Are you talking like the horror things like Hostel, where like there's.
Yeah. It's just,
yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's too gruesome in a weird way. It's like I'm realizing that it's like I kind of like my horror with a little tongue in cheek in it.
Yes, I do too.
Like like Get Out. What's the movie Nope or something like that? Or
I haven't seen that one, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The one with the alien, or it's like like the movie like Hereditary. Like I saw Hereditary. It's great. I mean, it's disturbing.
Yeah.
In a different way. Or Midsummer.
Midsummer. Yeah.
Have you seen Midsummer?
I saw Midsummer. Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to go down that road again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They're almost okay. They're understanding the assignment almost too well.
Yeah.
Where you are making like these truly terrifying, scary movies or disturbing movies.
Yeah, they are.
Like for like my favorite horror movie is like The Shining.
Shining, yeah, it's a good movie.
I mean, it's like, but I mean, that's an A-list movie. That's a Stanley Kubrick movie. But what I love about it is just the acting, just and the scenes and just the iconography of like all that stuff in it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing that I think I really like about the horror that I like is the iconic imagery of the stuff, like Bela Lugosi's Dracula,
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think of like Frankenstein, immediately you think of like the original Frankenstein.
Boris Karloff.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. You do. Yeah, when you mention Dracula, you think Bela Lugosi. You don't think Christopher Lee or anybody that came later. You think Bela Lugosi.
Well, it's like I'm thinking of like Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
Like Hockey Mask.
Mm-hmm. That happened in part 3.
But like in number 2, he's rolling around with a fucking bag on his head with one eye ripped out. I'm glad. I mean, the thing is, I don't even know if I think that was I think it was unintentional. Like, okay, he needs to have his face covered. Somehow, he kills whoever he does. And I think now he's wearing the mask. And I think like when they first made that, they would probably think like, okay, probably in the next one he'll wear something different. But it's stuck. My favorite of all those is the original one. Mm-hmm. I love Evil Dead 2. I really do. Don't get me wrong. Bruce Campbell's in it. Well, Ash is in the first one, but his role in that isn't like what he became. Yeah. He's a different. It's almost like he's kind of just more like normal. But number 2 is where he starts doing on the one-liners and all that other stuff, and then it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Army of Darkness, it's like they just kind of really played on that shit, and it just.
Did you see the TV series?
Yeah, it was okay.
I love the TV series.
I thought it was okay, but now you're getting to that point where it's almost like a stereotype of his character.
Yeah.
Where like now everything he's saying is like a one-liner, and that he's like I don't want to say narcissistic or whatever, but what I'm talking about. But the first one is just the first Evil Dead is just. It just looks cool.
Yeah, it was very well done.
And I was watching I had the DVD of it, and they had like behind the scenes footage, and they were talking about like the girls that turned into like the Deadites or whatever. Like it was a lot of their acting that kind of made that performance. Like my favorite part of that movie is where like she comes up with the pencil, and it's like really stiff. And she comes right down, and then she's kind of coming at him, and she's like, or doing the whole head shake, and you're like, hell yeah, that's some great acting.
It was great. It was a great movie.
Yeah. It's like once I get below The Shining, it's like The Evil Dead's probably like my favorite horror movie there. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like sitting over here, and then Motel Hell's like over here.
Oh, Motel Hell, yeah.
I found that movie disturbing, but that's all about a conversation. So you may be asking yourself, how can I join the Tiki Goth Club? Well, there is no membership. There are no fees. Well, things have changed. For $15, you can become a member of the Tiki Goth Club. What does $15 get you? It gets you your own membership card with your own number. You also get a couple stickers and a pin. I also have shirts for sale. These are $20, $5 shipping and handling. If you're interested in any of this, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and there's a tab that says Tiki Goth Club. Just click on that, and all the information you need is there.